According to the National Institute of Mental Health, an estimated 26.2% of Americans ages 18 and older suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder in a given year. That's 1 in 4 adults. In 2009, actress Glenn Close and director Ron Howard teamed up to produce a public service announcement titled Bring Change to Mind. Their objective was to bring into the open the taboo subject of mental illness and to enlighten the public that the mentally ill were just regular people with an illness that had a terrifying stigma. It was their hope that bringing this issue to light would help people understand and start openly discussing the issues of mental health.
Understand, they shy away and they think it's taboo, so it's easier to deal with the breast cancer since it's more easily accepted as an illness, whereas the manic depression, people just don't understand. They think, you've got something wrong with you, that, you're different.
I've had bouts of depression on and off over my lifetime. Both my mother and my father's side had mental illness in their family. I would have chills and didn't want to get out of bed. I had to wrap myself in a blanket. And so with the exercise and the medication, I felt fine and I was able to deal with life better. It's a battle, and you have to keep at it. Whatever happens, I'm still able to think, I'm still able to speak, and I have friends, and I have God, and that's what I try to remember.
According to the 2004 U.S. Census, 57.7 million people suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder.
I am convinced that it's genetic and chemical, and that gives me some relief. I didn't plan on this. It just happened. I read a lot. I come to support group and learn from other people. Medication has kept me sane, and although that the disappointing part is that I could feel good for 6 months, maybe a year. Almost convince myself that I'm finished with it, and then crash, and be in such a depressive state that in the most serious case, I don't care if I live or not.
With depression for probably 30 years or so. Living with depression is kind of like a roller coaster ride. Some days are good and some days are bad, and I know that's pretty much standard for everybody, but once a depression really takes a hold of you, sometimes there's a situation where you almost feel paralyzed. You can't think about anything else except the problem that you're depressed about or what you're worried about, and it's almost like living in a box.
The stigma, I think it would be easier to actually tell people you had a problem with drugs or alcohol and were in recovery than it would be to say I'm mentally ill.
Nobody knows I'm bipolar unless I tell them. I wish I didn't have it. I wish my mom would get diagnosed, but we know that's not going to happen. So I have something else to thank my mother for. But the support group that I go to on Tuesday nights is great. It's the only connection I have with my community.
According to the National Institute for Mental Health, Even though mental disorders are widespread in the population, the main burden of illness is concentrated in a much smaller proportion, about 6% or 1 in 17 who suffer from a serious mental illness. My friend Anthony was diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was just a young boy. He's now 47. He said that he needs to be careful of what he watches, listens to, or reads because anything could trigger a hallucination. For example, the theme song for The Twilight Zone is a consistent trigger. When I asked him about what hallucinations looked like, he responded that they appeared three-dimensional, solid, full color, cast shadows, and sounded real. One time, when he was an undergrad, he was working in the library when he noticed a very real-looking green monkey swinging from the rafters. Although looking back, the event seemed almost comical, at the time he was terrified because he knew that he was losing touch with reality. Public service announcement Bring Change to Mind was shown on all of the major networks. Actress Glenn Close openly discussed with her bipolar sister Jessie that change needs to take place. They hoped that this PSA would help bring mental illness into the light for open discussion so that mentally ill persons would no longer face the stigma they so fear.